What if I told you just one sentence could end manipulation forever? Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Picture this. You step into a room, and within minutes, your certainty begins to collapse. A harmless phrase twisted into an insult. A memory you know is true, denied like it never happened. You whisper to yourself, "Am I losing my mind?" You're not crazy. This is no accident. It's the dark game of the narcissist, those who drain your strength, feed on your doubt, and thrive on control. And I know you've met one, a lover who suffocates, a parent who never stops criticizing, a colleague who makes you feel smaller each day. But today, everything changes. I will give you one sentence, calm, unshakable, that makes them fear you. Yet before you hear it, you must understand why words can break their power. I'm Jason, and this is the Stoic Habit. If you feel this is the journey you need, hit subscribe, where each week we train the mind to become untouchable. Let's dive right in. Part 1. Unmasking the true nature of the narcissist. A narcissist is not confident, not even close. They are like statues of plaster glittering on the surface, yet empty within. What you see is arrogance. What hides beneath is fear, insecurity, and a bottomless hunger for power. They cloak their weakness with pride. They disguise fragility with manipulation. But remember, authentic strength is calm. Narcissism is chaos. Who do they seek out? Not the loud or the reckless, but the kind-hearted, the patient listener, the forgiving soul, the one who always gives the benefit of the doubt. Ironically, it is your empathy, your generosity, your goodness that becomes their weapon of control. I once spoke with a woman named Sarah. For 5 years, she believed she was the problem. Not patient enough, not loving enough, not silent enough. Until one day, she replayed a recorded argument. His voice, sharp, relentless. "You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. You don't remember right," she cried, but not from shame, from awakening. In that moment, she knew she was not broken, she was not crazy. And that realization, the moment truth pierced the fog, was her first step out of the labyrinth. Part 2. The 3 core needs: control, validation, confusion. Every narcissist runs on 3 dangerous addictions, 3 hungers that never end. First, control. They don't just want to give orders, they want to shape how you think, how you feel, how you react. Like a puppet master, they pull not only the strings of your hands, but the strings of your heart. Second, validation. This is their drug, a compliment, a nod, a moment of attention. This is fuel. Deny it, and they unravel. Cut it off, and they lash out like an addict in withdrawal. Because without admiration, their fragile shell begins to crack. And third, confusion. Their most lethal weapon. When you no longer trust your memory, your feelings, your truth, you become their playground. They blur the lines between love and control, between care and manipulation. They twist words. They deny what they said. They sneer, "That never happened. You're imagining things." This is gaslighting, and when you start to doubt yourself, they've already won. But here lies the turning point: awareness. The moment you name the pattern, the moment you see the game for what it is, you begin to take your power back. Part 3. Breaking the illusion, recognizing the game. Here's the hard truth: narcissists don't change. They don't wake up one morning and say, "I've hurt you enough." They don't suddenly see the light. Because in their story, they are always the hero or always the victim, but never the problem. And that's why recognition is everything. Once you see the pattern, you stop blaming yourself. Once you see the strategy, you stop playing their game. Think of it like this. You've been trapped in a theater. The lights are bright. The stage is loud. They perform their role, gaslighting, blaming, twisting. But then suddenly the curtain lifts. You see the wires. You see the script. You see the trick. That's the moment awareness strikes. And in that moment, their power begins to fade. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius: if someone does wrong, the harm is theirs, not yours. The insult is theirs, the cruelty is theirs, the lies are theirs. The danger is not that they attack, it's that you accept their attack as truth. A viewer of this channel once sent me a message. I spent 10 years trapped in the cycle, only to realize there was nothing wrong with me. The fault was theirs. That single confession cut straight to the deepest wound, and at the same time, it became the doorway to freedom. Part 4. The Stoic Weapon: Emotional Detachment. Narcissists crave one thing above all: your reaction. They want your anger, your tears, your endless explanations, because every burst of emotion tells them, I still have control over you. But here's where Stoicism gives us a weapon sharper than any argument: detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold or numb. It means you choose. You choose not to hand them the keys to your peace. Epictetus said it best: it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. And a narcissist knows this. They want to hijack your judgment so that you see their chaos as your truth. One woman told me, the first time I refused to cry, he panicked. He screamed louder, desperate for my reaction, but I stayed silent. That night I slept peacefully for the first time in years. This is the essence of Stoic power. Not loud, not dramatic, but calm, consistent detachment, an armor no narcissist can penetrate. Part 5. The one sentence that ends the game. You've waited for this moment, the turning point, the weapon that changes everything. One sentence, simple, calm, unshakable, and yet it terrifies every narcissist who hears it. Here it is. I'm not available for this conversation. Only 6 words, nothing more. But they strike deeper than any insult, louder than any scream. Why? Because this sentence does what no argument ever can. It ends the game. Think about it. A narcissist thrives on pulling you into endless circles. Attack, deny, blame, twist, repeat. They want you explaining, defending, begging. Every word you give them is fuel. Every reaction confirms their control. But when you say, I'm not available for this conversation, you cut the cord. You give them nothing, no explanation, no fuel, no weakness, just a wall they cannot climb. And here's the beauty: this sentence is not aggressive. It doesn't accuse. It doesn't insult. It doesn't give them a new angle to twist. It simply ends the interaction on your terms. Of course, they will push back. They may laugh, mock, escalate. They may accuse you of being cold, distant, disrespectful, but that's the point. They're scrambling. They sense the loss of control, and your job is not to fix their panic. Your job is to hold the line, repeat it if needed, then walk away. Because you don't need to win their argument, you just need to stop playing it. Every time you use this sentence, you reclaim your energy. Every time you refuse to explain, you reinforce your boundary. And with each repetition, you grow stronger, calmer, freer. This one sentence is more than words. It is a declaration, a signal to yourself and to them that your peace is no longer up for negotiation. Part 6. Why this sentence works. A narcissist survives on one thing: emotional engagement. They throw bait, they provoke, they wait for your reaction, because your reaction is their fuel. Your anger, your tears, your endless explanations, that's the oxygen they breathe. But the moment you say, I'm not available for this conversation, you cut the line, you starve them, you deny them the very substance they need. And suddenly they are empty, powerless, terrified. Seneca once wrote, "The one who masters himself is free, even in prison." That is the essence of this sentence. It is not just refusal, it is self-command. It is the power to decide when to speak, when to stay silent, and when to walk away. I knew someone who tried it. The attack began accusations, insults, sharp words, but she stayed calm. Her voice steady. "I'm not available for this conversation." He laughed, mocking her composure. He tried again, louder, crueler. She repeated, same tone, same calm. In the end, he slammed the door and stormed out, but she remained standing, unshaken for the first time in years. That is the shift. Not rage, not revenge, but unmovable calm. Yet, remember, one sentence alone is not enough. Its true power lies in consistency, because the narcissist will test you again. Harder this time, they will escalate. Or they will play weak, play broken, play victim, just to lure you back in. And here, the Stoics give us the answer: build your inner fortress. Each time you hold your ground, you lay another stone. Each time you refuse to react, you strengthen the walls. Until one day you realize nothing can break through. And the most powerful part? You don't need to expose them. You don't need to scream. You're a narcissist. You don't even need to fight. You simply stop playing. Victory is not crushing them. Victory is reclaiming your life. Marcus Aurelius said it best: the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. You don't need to become cruel. You don't need to mirror their poison. You only need to walk free. Because the moment you master yourself, the game ends. Conclusion: if you are trapped in a toxic relationship, remember this: you are not crazy. You are not weak. You only need to reclaim control. Sometimes freedom begins with a single line: I'm not available for this conversation. Speak it. Stand by it. Watch how quickly the mask of power falls when they realize you are no longer their prey. If this message resonates like this video, share it and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom. And in the comments, write just one word: freedom. Not only to tell your story, but to remind yourself you deserve to be free.